Okay, let's see what's going on with our friends. Chapter 18, Dr. Wu's Special Soup. Mr. Tabby looked down at Pearl. His eyes narrowed in a look of pure suspicion. He held tight to a tray. "And why are you soaking wet?" Pearl stepped back. She almost slipped on the water that had leaked from her lab coat onto the floor. We fell in the lake," Ben said, clearing his throat to begin one of his elaborate stories. "We were clipping the Sasquatch's toenails, just as you asked, and then I went to look out the window. And I opened it to get a better view, and that's when I dropped the toenail clippers and they landed in the lake. So we went into the lake to get them, and then we just fell in." Mr. Tabby's red eyebrows pressed together. "You both fell in?" "Well, I started to fall in, and then I reached to grab Pearl's hand to stop my fall, but I accidentally pulled her in too, and that's why we're both wet." I see." Mr. Tabby's curled his upper lip. "And why are you in the steam room, pray tell?" Ben hesitated. He tapped his fingers against the legs of his damp jeans. "Why are we in the steam room? That's what you asked." "Yes, that is precisely what I asked." Pearl's mind raced. How could they possibly explain why, after falling into the lake, they had jumped onto a conveyor belt and then they had ended up in this room? "Well," Ben shuffled and then he smiled. "Oh, we got lost. That's it. Yep, we got lost." That was a very good explanation. The hospital was huge after all. But even though the last thing Pearl wanted to get was to get in trouble, she knew that Cobblestone needed help. "Mr. Tabby," she said as she stepped forward, revealing the shivering little leprechaun who stood behind her. "I took him outside. He fell in the lake too." A soft growl sounded in Mr. Tabby's throat. "And why would you take the leprechaun outside?" The truth is," Pearl started. "The truth be that Cobblestone asked the girl to take him outside," the leprechaun interrupted, and then he sneezed so hard that the blanket fell off his shoulders. "Why would you go outside with a human?" Mr. Tabby asked. "Cobblestone like this human. She be the only human to take Cobblestone's gold and then to give it back again with a nice new pot." Pearl couldn't believe it. Not only had Ben tried to cover for her mistakes, but so had the leprechaun. She might have given each of them a hug if she hadn't been so worried. "Mr. Tabby, I think Cobblestone might have a fever. Is he going to be okay?" Mr. Tabby set the tray on the counter. He held the steaming saucepan, a ladle, and 3 bowls. "Lake swimming should be avoided when one has a head cold," he said, and then he stuck the thermometer into the leprechaun's ear. The thermometer beeped. 150 degrees. "150 degrees?" Ben said. "How is that even possible?" "Leprechaun blood is very hot. This is only a slight fever, quite curable with Dr. Wu's special soup." As he removed the lid from the saucepan, a salty scent drifted out, making Pearl's stomach growl. After ladling the soup, Mr. Tabby handed a bowl to the leprechaun. "But without the soup, the fever might rise to a deadly level." "Deadly?" Pearl gulped, and then she sneezed. Gold dust filled the air around her, too. "It appears that both of you have caught leprechaun colds. I anticipated as much when I saw the 3 sets of wet footprints in the lobby. Leprechaun colds are highly contagious." He ladled the soup into 2 more bowls and handed them to Pearl and Ben. "Ooh, this smells like my mom's matzo ball soup," Ben said. "Is it matzo ball soup?" "This is Dr. Wu's special soup. It is a secret recipe." Drink. Steam coated Pearl's face as she sipped. The taste was salty and sweet at the same time. She hadn't realized how hungry she was. Sneaking out of the hospital, running to the dollar store, rescuing Ben and the leprechaun from the lake monster must have burned a lot of energy. She drank 3 whole bowls. The broth instantly warmed her insides and somehow dried all of her clothes, too. "Hey," she said. "My nose is clear, too." "Mine, too," said Ben as he finished his second bowl. "The sniffles and snot be gone," said the leprechaun with a smile. "Wow, that's amazing. Usually takes a few days for my colds to go away," Pearl said. Another brilliant idea popped into her head. "If we sold this at the dollar store, we'd be rich." "Impossible," interrupted Mr. Tabby. "Dr. Wu's soup is not for sale." He pulled out his pocket watch. "Now that everyone is cured, it is time for the 2 of you to get back to work." "Did you finish with the Sasquatch?" "No," Pearl and Ben replied. "Then you had best complete your task before Dr. Wu returns." "Are you going to fire us?" Pearl asked. "Dr. Wu is in charge of the hospital. Whether you stay or whether you go is her decision alone." Mr. Tabby picked up the tray. "Come along." "Goodbye," Ben said as he reached out to shake the leprechaun's hand. "It was nice to meet you. Sorry we caused you some trouble." Cobblestone frowned, looking none too pleased about shaking hands with a human. When it was Pearl's turn to say goodbye, he also frowned, but only because he didn't want to say goodbye. Can I have your address?" Pearl asked. "That way we could be pen pals." The leprechaun reached into his apron pocket and took out a pair of shoes. "These be for you, Pearl, the regular girl who pull cobblestone and his cobbling tools from bottom of lake." "For me?" Pearl took the shoes. They were pink and soft, almost like ballet slippers. She slid them onto her bare feet. "They fit perfectly." And then she leaned close and whispered, "Are they the princess shoes?" "No, they be better. They be by Cobblestone's own hand. You will discover what they do when the time be right." And that's the end of that chapter. Stay tuned.